Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever your time zone, welcome. This is Digital Transformation Talk, and I am your host, Kevin Crane. Welcome to the show. This week, we'll be discussing the topic of rethinking digital transformation for your finance function. And effective digital transformation in finance requires a multidiscipline approach, and there are several things to consider. First is technology integration and the use of automation with tools like RPA and AI and content management to automate and streamline routine tasks. Another is the use of advanced analytics and data management for improved insights and forecasting. And for many organizations, all of this also means moving away from legacy systems and migrating to cloud based systems, often for data management to ensure accuracy and consistent data and real time access to data for decision making. Naturally, with this, cybersecurity and data protection and compliance are all huge factors to consider. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. But all of this really doesn't move the needle unless it makes a difference in the performance of the organization. And that all comes down to process optimization and streamlining workflows, redesigning processes to eliminate efficiencies. Making all of this happens requires fostering a culture of ongoing enhancement and continuous improvement. And, that takes the right skills and the right training and the right talent to make all of that happen. And as any project manager or change agent will tell you, getting to that improved state requires skillful change management and effectively managing the transition, both in terms of technology and the culture of the organization. This requires a meaningful and strategic alignment between tech goals and business goals. And we've talked about this on the show, how leadership support is essential and using the right performance metrics and establishing thoughtful KPIs to measure your success is critical. Now, focusing on these essential factors will lead to improved efficiency, better decision making, enhanced strategic capabilities, and competitive edge. But how do you do it? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today with a great panel of guests. But before I introduce our guests, I do want to say, as always, we want to hear from you too. We'd like to encourage everyone attending today to participate. We want to hear what you have to think, or we want to hear what you think. So please join in with your comments in the chat section. And if you have a question along the way, jump on in. I will attempt to get some of your questions and comments into the flow of the show, and we'll have a few minutes also at the end for your questions. All right, let's bring aboard our panel of guests today, starting with Human Razavi. Human Razavi. Human, are you with us today?
Hello, Kevin, and hello,
Hello.
everyone. I am with you from
Hello,
Mexico.
Human.
Nice.
Welcome aboard. That's
Thank
great
you
to
so
see you
much.
today. Human is a data scientist and an AI researcher uh, focused on emerging technologies with a decade of experience in fintech and banking. Now, Human, where are you calling in from?
I am with you from Mexico. Now is morning here, and I am honored to be a part of this panel. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Great to have you with us, Human. Very good. I'm so pleased to have you with us today. All right. Also joining us is Yemi Olzum. I'm going to mess up your name, Yemi. Olzum. Olzu
No worries.
Imam. How
Oluseun.
do I say that? Please,
It's
Yemi.
Yemi Oluseun.
Olusium. Am I close?
Oluseun. It's
Please
okay. It's fine.
excuse my
Oluseun.
accent.
No worries.
All right. Please excuse my accent. I'm a kid here from the West Coast of the United States. I have a terrible accent, but welcome aboard, Yemi. Now, look, Yemi is a growth consultant at the Change Hive. She specializes in designing and implementing sales funnels and CRM tools that drive growth for fintech and financial services companies. So, Yemi, welcome aboard. Where are you calling in from?
Right now, I'm in DC, so in the East Coast of the US, but I'm usually based in London.
Now, I understand congratulations are in order for you. Now, Yemi was recently recognized as an Innovation Fellow by the U.S. Department of State. So, congratulations, Yemi.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And welcome aboard. All right, very good. Let's bring also aboard Vijay Anand. Hello, Vijay. Vijay is head of digital payments and payments processing for MasterCard. You've been with us before, so welcome back, VJ. You have experience across the payments value chain, working, as I mentioned, for leading financial players like MasterCard. You are an expert in developing new and innovative digital payment systems. VJ, where are you calling in from?
Lovely to be here. I'm calling from India. It's evening, so I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Welcome aboard. It is evening time for you there. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Well, everyone, thank you and hello. I'd like to start our discussion today by drawing our attention to an article published recently by uh, Economist Impact called Navigating the New World in Financial Services. Now, the article talks about how disruptive technology trends, including convergence and increasing reliance on data, are changing the face of financial services, and that to strengthen customer relationships, firms in the sector are turning to innovative alliances that aid in essential digital transformation. An example given in the article is a recent partnership formed between Ernst & Young and Microsoft. This partnership consists of more than 40,000 Ernst & Young technology consultants dedicated to helping businesses realize long-term value through digital transformation powered by Microsoft. The alliance offers clients the benefits of a seamless integrated approach, especially in migrating workloads to the cloud. And this seems to be an indicator of where the sector is headed. So my questions to the group are, well, first of all, what are your thoughts on the article? And do you feel that the role of partners like this will have an impact in the financial sector? And if so, what will be that impact? Yemi, what are your thoughts on the article?
I think it's a great article. It reflects definitely the trend in the industry. There's a big trend towards customer personalization and really improving the customer experience. So AI, as I feel like every conversation boils down to AI these days, which is crazy. But I feel in this case it's relevant because before to get personalized reviews or recommendations to a customer, you had to read tons and tons of information. But with the power of AI and machine learning, you can feed a lot of information into these tools and CRMs, and you can get on a call with the customer and give them really personalized recommendations that is bespoke and tailored to them at a speed of light. The things that would have taken a lot of time to do, we can now do with technology. So it's great to see that financial services is becoming more open to us leveraging these technologies. I think the article also talks about the challenges that we have in the FS space, right? So all the legacy systems that we have. So it's getting the data from all these systems and putting into the right digital transformation tools to then get the insights that we need is going to take us some time. And then also taking into account things like regulation. So bearing in mind those two constraints, but I think the general trend of taking in as much customer information as we can ethically consume with the view of then giving the customer a personalized experience is definitely a trend in the right direction. So it's good to see that partnership.
You mentioned migrating from legacy systems to cloud processing. Do you feel that the financial services industry has been a little behind the curve in that migration? And if so, why? Do you feel that moving to the cloud will be something that financial service organizations and financial functions really eventually are going to be compelled to do rather than work with only legacy or on-premise systems?
I think we've been cautiously moving in the right direction towards the cloud where it makes sense to do so. I think it can't just be a carte blanche, everybody goes to the cloud. It needs to be horses for courses. So looking at the functions and the utility and determining where the cloud is the right strategy for it. But then you have to also remember that we're dealing with people's financial data and sensitive and personal information. So we need to be cautious in our adoption of technology. So yes, it's been slow compared to like say other industries that are maybe not dealing with sensitive data. But I think it's been slow for the right reasons. It's been slow because we are putting the customer's interest first and also taking into cognizance any regulation or regulatory constraints that we do have. So
all right. Well, we'll have a moment to talk a little bit more about migration to the cloud here in a minute. Human, what are your impressions of the article, and do you feel that the partners like this will have? What role do you feel that partners will have in the financial sector with their success in digital transformation?
Yes, thank you for your question. I think the main point in this article that we can discuss or focus on is creating value from the client's data. New technologies such as big data analytics and AI can enable financial institutions to become more intelligent. By analyzing vast amount of data, this institution can gain deeper insight into customer behavior and preference, and this allows them to predict future client demands more accurately and deliver tailored and smart services when and where they are needed. But I want to refer
Mm.
to a sentence by May Lam from Ernst and Young in this article, who said, how can we make their life easier, simpler, and better?" in in the response of this question and your question, I think that a digital bank should provide digital services for digital businesses partnership. Currently, banks and financial institutions struggle to offer a wide range of services within a single app, managing everything from grocery to travel and transportation for retail clients. However, if bank could provide their banking and payment infrastructure as a service through an open banking platform, it would be it would create a more effective ecosystem to approach. This approach, I think, would allow third parties, fintech startups, and digital businesses to serve clients in a B2B2C model, while bank could focus on their core financial functions, I think.
All right. And VJ, I'm curious. You're with MasterCard. Does your organization have, or are you considering a similar partnership to what here is described with Ernst& Young and Microsoft?
Absolutely. I think this is indeed a watershed moment for the industry, where we are looking for transformation in response to the demand of automation, customer looking for hyper personalization, and the organizations looking for cost efficiency, where we are looking for enhancing our market integration, real-time services. That is what the customer is looking at. And this is a great example of two big giants coming together and providing the services which will take the customer preferences into the consideration. It will give the great insights. And we are in MasterCard are working in that direction. We have many such partnerships. We are focusing on we are already on the journey of digital transformation. Digital first is the approach. The question is, how do we really understand the market? How do we operate where every touch points provide value to the customer? How do we engage in the in the market competition? So that is a question which we are trying to work with our partners. We are offering those services, and we are enabling many of our partners organization in really reimagining their business, where payments become frictionless and it becomes embedded in their business. The idea is the customer should not feel the friction. It should be the business function, and payments become hidden, immersive, and that is where these kind of transformational initiatives, these kind of innovation, are the step in the right direction. And we are going to see many such examples. The idea is for us to how do we really use the real-time data for accurate forecasting, getting the strategic insights, and bringing the best of the value for the customer, because customer definitely is expecting uh, the insights, the value, and the specific personalized offers and the right set of advice for them. So I think most of the organization and financial services industry in particular, and as we all have assembled together to discuss about what exactly is how is our health of our finance function, and that is where we have to look at how we are looking and navigating through the our digital transformation. Are we able to have our organization where our systems are sleek, efficient machine, which is enabling the success, or it is just drawing back in offering the new services to the customer, which they have become very, very demanding. And trust me, we are seeing competition from all the players, right? Well, many of the fintechs are coming. and but there is a market for everyone, and the idea is for us to collaborate and try to give the best for the customer. So it is a step in the right direction, and we are going to see many such examples.
Okay. Well, very good. The article is Navigating a New World in Financial Services, published by Economist in. What am I saying? Economist. That's a weird title. Economist. I've never heard that. Economist Impact. If I'm saying that right, in any event, the link is here in the chat feature. Please go ahead and read that article. Let us know what you think. But for now, I think we're going to move on, everyone, to our first discussion point today. And that is talking about cybersecurity, implementing robust security measures to protect your organization from the latest threats. Now, cybersecurity is certainly a topic that is talked about quite a bit in financial services. I want to understand from our group today, what are the latest threats today? What measures should we take? And what happens if we do nothing? What are the risks of doing nothing? So I'll start with you, Yemi. What are the latest threats that we should be considering today in financial services when it comes to cybersecurity? And what should we be doing about it?
I think that the themes are still very much similar to what we saw. We've seen things like ransomware attacks and having to pay things, fines, and people hijacking stuff, and lots of phishing. I think the typical phishing scams and email phishing scams are still a very popular way for people to gain access to private information. I think also people using tools like AI. We've seen examples where people have innocently copied data, sensitive data, and put it into AI tools, and it's leaked information out to the public that wasn't supposed to be leaked out. So I think it's been a mix of some attacks being malicious and also some attacks being as a result of negligence and sometimes more like lack of education. So a lot of focus is being spent not just on adopting technology to minimize cybersecurity threats, but we're starting to see a lot more focus on actually training users, employees, and every stakeholder within the ecosystem to be aware of the various forms of cyber attacks so that we don't become the weakest link in the network, right? Because ultimately, any cybersecurity strategy is only as strong as the weakest link in that network, right? Because this attack is scanning the network to find vulnerabilities, and you don't want to be the one that is lagging behind. Because, so yeah, a lot of focus is being put right now on training, growing the awareness, and also making people aware of some of the dark sides of this new technologies. Because the blessing with checked as most technology is still nascent. I'm sorry about the background noise. As still nascent and we're still kind of figuring it out, mistakes do happen, but this is part of why sometimes adoption is slow in financial services, because we want to spend some time to really understand the technology fully, build the right parameters and rogue safeguards around it before we then open it up to our users to use. But a lot of focus, just to summarize, has been on educating our users and making them aware of the typical threats and making them aware of how to prevent themselves from being the weakest link in the network.
So despite the technology, it really still comes down to the people involved and the awareness and sort of the acumen that is followed with respect to these threats.
Absolutely. Because
right,
hey, you can have
good.
people
now,
write, regardless of how complicated the password is, if you have people writing it down on a piece of paper and sticking it on their PC so they don't forget, basic example, then it doesn't matter. Like, you have the best password protection tool. People are not cautious.
I'm like that, and I'm terrible. But luckily, I don't work in financial services. All right, Vijay, what measures should we take beyond training? Are there technologies and techniques that we should be considering?
No, absolutely. Because one thing which we must realize, with the rapid adoption of digital technologies, exponentially increases the attack. It is making all the organization more susceptible. As we are having more devices, system, networks connecting, the risk of cyber attack is growing. And as we are trying to innovate, trying to bring in new services, new capabilities, cyber criminals are also consistently looking for vulnerabilities, and they are looking at the weak link, and they are trying to identify the way they can breach it. And data breaches, IP breaches, ransomware, APP kind of frauds. These are some real threats which we have seen in the industry. And that is where, when we are creating a digital transformational initiative, when we are creating the digital strategy, it requires a very, very proactive and comprehensive cybersecurity strategy. Every step of the journey must be underpinned by the robust measures that needs to be taken by the cybersecurity assessment, management of every step. All the partners, all the touch point integration points need to be evaluated. One thing which we are trying to do is secure by design approach, and that is something which needs to be thought about whenever we are trying to launch new capabilities. Security should be embedded in the design right from the beginning. We need to understand what are the fundamental consideration that needs to be thought about. Strong authentication, access controls, these are measures which we are trying to bring in, which the industry is also interestingly bringing in, which we have seen where some of the regulations are driving these innovations, which are now enabling us to really be more secure and give the best services to the customer. Robust network security, because we are connecting to multiple partners, and that is the way the industry is going to shape. So, where what is the kind of firewall protection we can prove? How we can prevent the right set of data encryption? How do we handle the data? Uh, so these are some of the things which we really need to look upon, and that is where our some of the regulations like GDPR on soil requirement is really making it imperative, where the customer data is trying to be safeguarded. Where sensitive data, we are just trying to make sure it is controlled, it is in the right hands, and we build the trust. The idea of cyber security is to give the trust to the customer, where the customer is feels that the organization who is handling their data, they are committed to their security. There will not be any violation, and it is being used by the right partners who knows, with the right set of controls. And that is where it is important to have the right set of partnership, because partnership and the marketplace is becoming the norm. Many fintechs are coming into play, and we have to make sure all the partners who are getting onboarded, they are equally committed of bringing the right set of measures for cybersecurity. So it is a very, very important part of digital transformation, as we are as the technology is making us offer new capabilities. It is helping us innovate. We also have a responsibility of making sure that the customer is looking for good services. It is important to them, but security is something which is mandatory. Nobody is
Yeah.
willing to have even a single violation. Nobody likes their data to be compromised. So it is important, and it has to be embedded in the DNA of all the organization.
All right. Now, Human, you are an AI researcher. I'm curious, from your perspective, what role AI has in helping me instill proper security. Yemi is talking about the people and the training part of it. Vijay is talking about security being part of the design of any process improvement or any process. With AI, the developments in AI recently, where does AI play in all this? Can AI be an assistant in helping us build more secure systems?
Yes. Before this, I want to add another point that's important. I think the first important thing for enterprises in addressing cybersecurity issues is measuring the financial costs associated with the issues. Using data analytics is crucial for assessing cybersecurity risk, as it allows for the identification of anomalies and attacks. It's essential to measure the risk associated with cyber attacks, including operational cost, brand risk, business loss opportunities, regulatory fines, and also recovery expenses. By quantifying this risk, enterprises can better allocate resources, implement effective security measures, investment, and develop strategies to mitigate potential impacts on their operations and reputations. We need to measure and calculate the risk of cybersecurity threats to understand how firms can invest to mitigate this risk. In data science, we use the concept of expected value, which is the probability of an event multiplied by its associated costs. The probability of cybersecurity threats is determined by its statistical data, making historical data analytics crucial for calculating and risk assessment. So, in this context, historical data analytics play a pivotal role by analyzing past incidents and trends. Organization can gain insight from the frequency and severity of cybersecurity threats. But in response of your question, in the digital transformation age, enterprises can leverage advanced AI to measure and mitigate cybersecurity risk in their financial function through several key strategies. For example, automated threat detection, risk assessment and prediction, and fraud detection and prevention. For example, AI can analyze large data sets to identify unusual patterns and anomalies that may indicate a cyber threat. Machine learning algorithms can continuously learn from new data, improving their ability to detect complex attacks. And also AI system can monitor network traffic and user behavior in real time, providing instance alerts for any abnormal activities, and this enables quicker response time to potential threats.
All right,
I
very
think I'd
good.
like
We
to
are
add
here
because
today.
it touches
Yes,
all the
please
three
go right ahead.
elements, right? Yeah, it touches
Hmm.
all the three elements for the cybersecurity: people, process, technology. So we have to bring in all the three when we are talking about a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy for an organization.
Right.
People need to be educated about it. Process, right set
I
of
agree.
processes, risk assessment
Yeah.
has to be done, and technology really enables the right set of measures where we can take the proactive measures than being reactive.
I completely agree,
All right.
Vijay.
Well,
And I think it's important to say it's not a one time fix, it's a constant monitoring and iterating and adopting because the strategies are
Absolutely.
ever evolving and getting more sophisticated by the day. So I agree.
Absolutely. You are always going to find the new ways of cyber attacks, and with all kind of new innovation coming in, crypto coming in, the money vanishes in moments, and it is untraceable. And real-time payments coming into picture. It is irreversible payments, but then in that case, it is important to put a stop on APP kind of fraud. So it is very, very important for us to have the right set of measures and bring all the three elements, as I mentioned, together for creating the trust in the consumer.
and that's ever so important. Ultimately, it comes down to customer trust and experience. Right?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's move on to our next discussion point today, and that is aligning the financial workforce with your digital transformation goals to ensure smooth transition and adoption. Yemi, you were already talking about this factor as being critical in terms of workforce awareness and adoption and acumen when it comes to uh, security. Yemi, in what ways can we ensure that our workforce is on board with our initiatives?
I think any kind of digital transformation strategy starts with clarity of vision, first of all. So, really having the leaders being clear on the why, like, why is this important? Why now? And what's the end state going to look like? And having a clear owner or clear sponsor from the business or from a senior leadership perspective really helps. Because without that, a lot of fear and rumor mongering starts, right? Is, oh my God, what is all this
Right.
change that is happening? Does that mean I'm going to lose my job? Is the world going to come to an end? Like, so everything is up for grabs without that clarity of vision. So a starting point is that vision being clear. Second point is then really understanding the people and knowing what the current as a state is, and taking the time to really educate them on what's coming up, and how this might or may not impact them. So training them, reskilling them, and getting them ready for it. But I think it's that constant communication on the vision, where we are right now, where we're going, and why it's important, and what impact it will have on them and their career, and how you're going to support them through that transformation is super important for any kind of success. So really carrying the people along through the journey.
Really describing the future state and where everyone's place in it is, right? So that they understand where they fit in
Absolutely.
the new paradigm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
All
suppose
right.
being vulnerable as well to say, if you're not sure, is to say, really, we don't know. We're still figuring this out. If that's the answer, but because I suppose with change comes a lot of vulnerability and uncertainty, right? And it's really managing that properly through. So I suppose hence the need of proper change management in the whole process.
And that takes thoughtful effort and consistent effort. It's not something you can just post on the bulletin board or have a meeting about. It's an ongoing effort.
Completely. This is why it's hard. It's not an easy task to do. And doing this all in the light of them managing the regulators as well. So you're having to make sure you're compliant to the regulators. You're taking care of the customer, putting the
Right.
customer's interest first, but also making sure you're carrying your people
Right.
along. And then at the same time, keeping up with technology. So you're basically juggling four balls at the very least, because you've got the regulators, you've got the customers, you've got the people that you're managing, and the technology. So it's a lot of balls at the same time.
We are having some questions and comments coming in on this topic, and I want to go to Craig's comment. Thank you, Craig, for your comment, and I'll put it out to the entire group here, please. How do you know when your workforce or your financial team is not on board with your digital transformation roadmap? And I guess to follow up on Craig's comment, what should we do then if they are not on board? What should we do if employees are resistant to change? Human, Yemi, Vijay, any thoughts on that?
I think one thing very, very important is how do we communicate and how we emphasize what is in it for them. Because change is the only constant in today's world. With the technology changing, you need to have the right set of mix, making sure that you onboard the employees. And no initiative can be successful unless they are onboarded. They really trust that the decision which is being taken by the organization is in the right interest for the organization and the employees both. So you need the communication needs to be very clear. How are we going to upskill them? How they are going to be prepared to adapt to the new technology, and how we are going to marry their knowledge of the system, because that is irreplaceable. It is not going to be possible that we can replace everyone, because system knowledge is key for financial services. There's so much of information available with them. There is so much of experience. So how do we make sure that we upskill them? We have the right set of combination of experience with the new technology training and incentivize people for adapting to the change. I feel that wherever there has been communication, which has been very clear, where all the stakeholders are covered, what is in it for the organization, what is in it for the customer, but some of the organization misses out what is in it for the employees, because workforce is changing. We have to realize it. The technology, every technology is changing. You cannot be expecting to be hitting the green screen forever. Things are changing, customer is expecting, and the customer is the king. So we have to realize that, and we have to communicate it with a lot of empathy with them, with showing them what is in it in store for them future and how it is going to help them. So I feel that that is there's these are the some of the initiative which has worked, and that has been the difference between the organization who have been able to go into the journey of of the technology reforms, digitization, or just taking the digital first approach, where they have been able to onboard the employees, making sure that they are partnering it, because they are definitely need to be shown that they are the assets on the foundation of which the organization is going to move on the path of digital transformation.
Well, we are hovering around a topic that is important to me. And again, Craig is bringing up a follow-up comment and a question here that I think is very important with respect to this idea of workforce and change management. And Craig is saying, quote, reskilling comes up quite a lot in conversations about digital transformation and automation and AI as it does. Not everyone is upskillable. And this, to me, is bringing up an interesting discussion. indeed, reskilling and redeployment of workforce of people is discussed quite a bit in digital transformation. The idea being, well, if we automate this process, then we can redeploy our employees into more value-added positions or activities. I'm wondering if that really happens. In other words, can anyone tell me, give me an example of one organization that automated a process in financial services, for example, and then displaced those workers and then replaced them in other roles and upskilled them, reskilled them? Can anyone give me an example of that actually happening? Human?
Yes, I have an example, but I think VJ can say his real experience in the MasterCard. But I want to talk more about the learning operation in enterprises. Depending on their size, enterprises have different options for implementing a kind of lifelong learning and learning during the work. For example, for large enterprises like Google and Amazon, they have the resources to create internal academies dedicated to teaching a staff the company's goals, methods, and techniques. These academies serves as a hub for continuous learning, providing employees with opportunities to enhance their skills, upper skills, real skills, and knowledge relevant to their roles. Shift from traditional education, large enterprises like Google have been pioneers in moving away from traditional education and degrees. Instead, they focus on practical skills and certifications that directly align with job requirements. For example, Google announced courses from their academy could be considered equivalent to earning a bachelor degree from a university. This fact emphasizes that the value of hands-on experience and specific training.
I think you rightly said, Uman. I think we are definitely seeing that because in Mastercard we are encouraging upskilling, and it is a continuous learning. It is very much part of anybody's career discussion. As we chalk out the discuss about how the next year is going to be looking like, we make sure that we identify the new skills which they need to develop, and it is soft skill as well as the technology, and we encourage people to take on the certification. There is huge amount of incentives, interventions are being made by bringing a lot of certification partnership with with the leading education providers, whether it is in the area of AI/ML, whether it is in the area of cloud, whether it is in the area of IoT. So there are huge amount of incentives which are being made and opportunities are being given, and it becomes an now integral part of development of every employees. And we have seen that change happening in the industry and in Mastercard, right? Because we have been moving out of legacy. We are moving to in a stage where uh, the plastic is becoming an outdated technology. It is becoming just a form factor. The idea is for us to really move out, and everything is changing. Whether it is the database, whether how we are uh, talking to the systems, the file systems have been moving through the APIs. So more and more sophisticated analytics is coming into picture, and that is possible but only because the employees have been we had that vision. We made sure that we created the right set of encouragement for them, and the employees were ready much ahead of time before their applications was moving to the new technology. It has worked well for many of the organization, and there are a lot of foundational courses which is being brought in to really make sure that the employees are updated with the new technology.
Well, it's an important
I
topic and
agree,
one
but
that
I think
is. Go ahead, Yemi, please.
I was going to agree with Vijay again. But I was going to say, I think, of course, the employer needs to, I suppose, help the employee as much as possible. But I think also as employees, we need to embrace the fact that we have to start taking ownership for our careers, right? So job for life is long gone. It's not going to happen. There's no such thing as job for life anymore. Lifelong learning is what we now need to embrace. We all need to embrace it. So as employees, really, I think that the strategy that we all need to embrace is at the start of any kind of because most of us have performance reviews in our organizations, right? Usually before your performance or your objectives are set for the year, your management has told you what their objectives are for the year, right? They know they've told you what they want to achieve for the next 5 years or what the vision is for the department. It's up to you to make sure that the skills that you do have align, or the objectives you're setting for yourself personally aligns with the organization's objectives. If you're finding that you're in a place where your vision or your objectives are not aligning with the organization's objectives, then maybe it's time for you to start thinking, maybe I don't want to upskill to fit in. Because if your organization is saying, hey, we want to embrace more AI, more cloud, and you have the mindset of, this AI thing is not for me, I don't want this stuff, then maybe as an individual, we need to take ownership and say, hey, I'm choosing not to upskill or choosing not to adapt. So if I want to choose this, then I have to be choosing something else, right? So maybe I need to proactively look for something that is in more alignment with who I am. So I think I want to just offer that up, right? Because I feel like it's time for us as individuals to take, because I think employers have shown us that they would always do what's in their best interest. Layoffs are going to be a thing that we're going to see more and more keep happening. So as employees, we need to take ownership and drive that. And to your question around like how are employers proactively reskilling people, I think it's happening across the board, because only 10 years ago, there was no such thing as AI jobs or cloud and AI jobs, so machine learning, data science jobs. They didn't really exist in that as we're seeing them right now. So these are jobs that only came on board 10 years ago. People within organizations have had to upskill, the ones that were interested in upskilling, to take on the roles that are now being done in those organizations. So companies are helping people reskill and upskill. We're seeing that happen because people are doing the AI, data learning, and machine learning jobs in those organizations. But it's up to us as employees to be proactive. We can't be passive anymore. Is what I wanted to share. I know it's not a very pleasant message, but I think it's important to say so.
Okay. I get you. All right. Yeah, of course. It is behooving of employees to constantly be considering their trajectory and what they need to be doing proactively to ensure that they are moving forward in their career. However, I think that organizations that are in full-scale digital transformation and process improvement, where indeed job functions that once were manual are now going to be automated and people are going to be displaced from those jobs. I think if they expect their workforce to embrace those changes, then there needs to be some sort of thoughtful program and strategies in place for those
the point,
people.
Kevin, is that
it's more likely that they will
creates...
be eliminated than redeployed.
No, I don't think so. I think so. In that example
agree?
You gave, no, I think it's a mixed bag. It's not just a lateral, because we're automating, they're going to be displaced. So in an example, you had lots of people doing data entry, right? We're now going to be doing a lot more data analytics and putting this stuff into a Power BI type tool. We need somebody to still go in and do the data analysis and do like the dashboards on Tableau or Power BI and generate insights. So whereas your job before was just pure data entry, I now need you to take your data skills and now learn how to analyze the data and do data reporting on it. So it's step up higher. So I don't think it's a necessary the job function might change and look different to how it looked before. So yes, there might be some losses, but I don't think it's a literal everybody's going to be, because I think when ChatGPT first came out, the fear was, oh my God, everybody's going to lose their jobs, machines are going to take over. But we've seen that hasn't happened, right? It's just created a new type of job, or new opportunities have come up as a result of AI.
All right.
Excuse me, Kevin, let me add a point. Let me refer to a news almost 2 years ago. The Minister of Education in Canada said we need just 2 skills in our elementary schools: personal finance and computer programming. And based on my experience in edtech industry, I believe we must revolutionize our process, especially in human resources, in recruiting, learning, and evaluation. And I think that enterprises are facing complex problems and concepts that human resources need to learn. Traditional university education and degrees often do not cover these advanced skills, and we need a transformation in corporate learning department, I think.
Agree with you, Hunan. I think that it is behooving, in my personal opinion, it is behooving on the organization to address this systemically with some sort of programs. I understand that positions are eliminated all the time. But at the same time, I'm skeptical about the rhetoric about, well, if I automate this process with whatever tools, then people will just be upskilled or redeployed. I don't think that happens. And in my opinion, I think people are just simply let go. And that is why a lot of folks are concerned about digital transformation or the process improvement change initiatives, because they fear that their jobs are going to be eliminated. And I think they have reason to feel that way. So with digital transformation as change agents and digital transformation agents, we need to address this if we expect our workforce to embrace it at all. But maybe I'm completely off base. You tell me. It seems to be resonating with our attendees today, and I think it's a great topic. Maybe we need to do a complete show on this topic. But indeed, we are running out of time. Unfortunately, we could go on for another hour on some of this, but I do want to say that we are here today with Human Razavi, Yemi Alusian, and Vijay Anand. We are here with Digital Transformation Talk, and we are talking about financial workforce, aligning your financial workforce with your digital transformation goals. Folks, we have reached the action item round of the program. I'm wondering if each of you could provide us with one quick action item that our listeners and viewers can use to take advantage of the ideas and advice today. Human, what is your action item for us today?
I think organization can invest in AI-powered tools and algorithms to automate routine finance tasks such as invoice processing, financial forecasting, and they can use the vast amount of financial data and other types of data to better decision making and risk management.
Thank you, Human. Thank you very much. Next up is Yemi. Yemi, do you have an action item for us today?
I do. I think, I don't know if it's one action item. I think it starts with, first of all, taking stock of where you are. So doing an initial risk assessment of where you are as an organization. And then secondly, setting a clear vision of where you're looking to go and what the future looks like, and clearly communicating it amongst your stakeholders, so employees, customers, and making everybody aware of it. And I think by doing that, people start to identify what the gaps are, what the potential concerns would be, and they would raise it individually. And on a case-by-case basis, you could then address those concerns. I think topics like reskilling and upskilling are very nuanced and need to be handled on a case-by-case basis, right? So yes. I think by going systematically through it, so it's by risk analysis, where are we today right now? Where would we like to be in the future? Communicating it, getting that feedback from people, and then assessing where you land. You can then start to move forward with some sort of confidence or clarity.
Absolutely. Thank you, Yemi, for that action item today. And finally, Vijay, do you have an action item for us?
Absolutely. Going by the spirit of the discussion which we had, my message to everyone is digital transformation. It offers tremendous opportunity for organization to improve efficiency, enhance customer experience, and gain a competitive edge. However, you need to make sure all the three, people, process, and technology, are married together, so that with adequate cybersecurity measure, with bringing the right set of intervention for the workforce, you can go on the journey of digital transformation.
Well, all right. Thank you, everyone, today. Human, Yemi, Vijay, it has been great speaking with you today. I wish we had more time. Your perspectives and advice are spot on. Thank you so much. I hope that we get a chance to talk again soon. And everyone with us today, thank you too. Thank you for joining in, and join us next time on 611 with another great panel of guests when we'll be talking about leading the rollout of AI tools across your organization. That should be another great discussion. In the meantime, if you'd like to find me, you can do so on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect there, so check me out. I'm Kevin Crane, and you can check out my weekly audio podcast, the Digital Transformation Podcast. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of Digital Transformation Talk. And until next week, I'm Kevin Crane. Thanks for watching.